This is Kitchen Wagers. I'm Adam Zdroik, joined by Chris Owen. Gameweek 25. We got 8 bets for everyone. Chris, it's Friday. It is, for you, it is high noon in wages. So shout outs to high noon.
They don't sponsor the show, but they should.
I have it's beers and wages for me. I have it's a 16 ouncer, so I already cracked this before we started. So, a little nice 3 p.m. Eastern on a Friday, double hazy IPA 9%er to get me through the day. So
How does a double hazy? Wow, I don't even know what that means. Is it like basically milk?
yeah,
Looks
can
like
you see through it?
no, you that's double hazy for sure.
Double hazies and wagers. Shouts to my dog, whose name is Hazy as well.
Wow.
But yeah, so a hazy day overall. Not hazy for our bets though. So how about that? We're coming off. It was we're coming off losses in this Man City Brighton weeks, and you're coming off of Liverpool. But overall, it was an okay betting week for us, is what I'll say. I was 3-1. You were 2-2, so it wasn't a terrible week. Maybe a bad week for your mindset. And we're fresh off that Brighton Man City match. But overall, it was a decent midweek for us. But we have more bets. We have more relegation talk. We have more, champion talk, I guess, as well. We have the North London derbies coming up. So that's going to be the big one for this weekend. And we have Aston Villa fighting for a top 4 spot. They're home against Chelsea. We got that. But first, we have Wolverhampton, our home against Luton Town. And rotowire.com/soccer trial. Get a 48-hour trial to get all the in-depth stats, but you can also check out the betting pages over there. We got a Bundesliga article up right now. In case you're interested in Bundesliga bets, check that out. Bundesliga bets, rotowire.com/betting/soccer. But we can also compare odds here. Wolverhampton, Wolves are home against Luton Town. Plus, we got to change here. Minus 105 here for Wolves. So this is moving a little up and down here. Minus 105 Wolves on the money line. Luton Town are plus 260. The draw is plus 290. And then how many goals are we thinking? We're thinking over 3.5. No, over 2.5 goals is minus 165. Under 2.5 goals is plus 135. Both teams are crawling to the finish line, we could say. Luton Town looked very bad against Brentford last week. They lost Issa Kabore to probably a season-ending ankle injury. So he's going to be out. That means maybe we're going to get Fred Onyedema into the starting 11 again. I think he has 1 league start this season. And Wolverhampton, they lost one of their center backs. They have Santi Bueno is going to be out. So is Craig Dawson. So they have a couple injuries, but they're also getting Cunha. He-Chan has started a couple matches in a row, so they're getting some guys back, some defenders away. So an interesting spot. Wolverhampton have been terrible, and Luton Town haven't been very good either. So how are we going to decide what's going to happen in this match?
Ooh, this is a tough one. We have to pick up Luton Town on the show just because they're kind of battling it out with Nottingham Forest, who we might touch on later. But yeah, this is certainly one of those matchups that maybe Wolves aren't really playing for much. Luton Town playing for their place in the Premier League next season. Both teams have been pretty horrific as of late. I think Wolves have. I'm just looking at their last 5. They were 1-1. They drew Burnley 1-1. Lost West Ham. Drew Nottingham Forest, which was a tough one to draw 2-2, and then have most recently lost to Bournemouth and Arsenal. Meanwhile, Luton Town, just got shellacked the last 2 games. Man City took it to them 5-1, and then 5-1, of course, to Brentford, which you already mentioned. But all in all, here it's interesting. I think Wolverhampton are they getting their minus 105 at home, that was my initial. I was like, oh, that's money. You look at the Luton Town lineup; they're missing pretty much the whole back line. I would pretty close to the whole back line. So
no, they got some guys back. A
couple guys back.
Depends what you think about Osho, Burke, and Mengi, I guess is what it means.
Yeah, I mean they've shipped 10 goals in the last 2 games, so I don't think that highly of them personally. I still like this. I do like this Wolverhampton moneyline bet because I don't have a whole lot of belief in what Luton Town's done this season. I mean they've got 6 wins, I think, 21. What am I seeing? 21 losses here. So they're dropping quite a few games. I think Wolves can take it to them here in this game and grab 3 points. Though minus 105 just doesn't feel like quite enough for Wolves being facing Luton Town. So I just added a little same game parlay onto that over 1.5 goals. I think we do, given the fact that, in most of these games, I mean, when's the last time there was less than 2 goals in a Luton Town game? I'd have to double check, but I feel like it's been a bit. So I just added that on to get to the plus 125. So I'm on Wolves here. I haven't seen much out of Luton Town to be like, okay, they're gonna come through. So give me Wolves money line plus 105 here. And looks like you feel differently. Wow.
Yeah. So so we have a quick week here. So we had all these matches midweek. I was writing my article, the bare bones of it yesterday, and I wrote down a separate bet for Luton Town, Wolverhampton, because I didn't know what games we were talking about. And then we decided we were going to talk about this. And then, minutes before the show, I was like, shoot, I better have a different bet than my article. And then I saw your bet, and I was like, okay, let's get Luton Town double chance here. So yeah, I got Luton Town double chance minus 115. Wolverhampton have been terrible. You said Luton Town have been bad, but Wolverhampton have basically fallen apart since Pedro Neto has been down, and that's been over a month now. Luton Town have more points in their last 5 matches than Wolverhampton do, if that means anything.
They have 1 more point.
Exactly.
Okay,
exactly.
Fair enough. I mean, you're not wrong.
Wolverhampton, they had that midweek match against Bournemouth where they had, I think, 2 goals taken away. One of them was some tough penalty calls.
Yeah.
Their mindset is going to be, okay, we probably should have taken at least a point. Probably should have gotten at least a goal against Bournemouth midweek. But they were pretty bad in the first half against Bournemouth. Then Bournemouth got a red card. Then Wolverhampton were pushing. Probably should have had a goal. Gets taken away from them, kind of thing. So you have that mindset. And then a week ago, Gary O'Neill came out and was like, I can't wait until the summer because all these injuries. And he just, Wolverhampton don't really have anything to play for. So kind of building all of this. And obviously the worry is Luton Town had 6 shots at home against Brentford last game. They just couldn't do anything. And I'm just hoping for a bounce back is what it comes down to. Do I believe in Wolverhampton? Not really. Do I believe in Luton Town? Not really either. But if we're getting close to even odds on one of the double chances, why don't we just take that? As I think about it here, this is another one of these games where why don't we just bet the draw? The draw is plus 290. It feels like a 1-1 game to me. It feels like what happened in that Wolverhampton Bournemouth game midweek, where that game probably should have been 1-1, but I don't know if either one of these teams is going to play well enough to get the win. So I'll go Luton Town double chance and go head to head with Chris's bet.
I love this. We don't get into it enough on this show. So good to see you. Trying to outduel me here. I don't think you will. But yeah, I mean, you mentioned Wolves winless in their last 7 matches, so going to need a little bit of help here for sure. But I mean, Luton's won. They won one game in their last. What is it? Probably
3 matches.
Yeah, 1 game in their last 3 matches, but if you look further, it's like 1 game in the last 15 matches. So it's been tougher here. I actually the double chance is a decent bet, but I think Wolves just have a bit more quality. You mentioned getting some guys back in attack as well. I mean, Chan up top just helps them score goals. So, but yeah, they're definitely not a good team without Pedro Neto, and I'd be surprised if he sticks around too.
Yeah, like Cunha and, I didn't mention it because it didn't help my bet, but Cunha and Hee-Chan have also been out off and on for the past couple months as well. So when all 3 of those guys are out, then obviously that's a massive problem in the attack. But if both those guys start, it's obviously a difference than they've had to start multiple like teenagers in recent matches kind of thing, or move someone like João Gomez or whoever up front. So, getting Hee-Chan and Cunha back is helpful, but you know what? Carlton Morris it has something to say for this one. Rob Edwards has something to say about this one as Luton Town fighting for their Premier League lives.
Rob Edwards has something to say. You're right. Are you smashing this over 3.5 at plus 140?
No, I don't think.
You don't think so?
I don't think either one of these teams are playing well enough that we're going to get a back and forth goal game. I think 1-1 is the play. I don't know. It just seems like we had maybe because we're getting these Wolverhampton guys back, but I don't think we're getting more than one goal from Luton Town. They haven't really been that good, given all these other injuries as well. So
fair enough.
I'll say 1-1. Draws plus 290. 1-1 is plus 550. So
nice. I would hit this over 3.5. I mean, 10 goals. They've shipped. There's been 12 goals in the last 2 Luton Town games. I mean, Wolves have been given a couple up too, but I think there's a few goals in this match.
So be it. The next game we got is a little different type of game here. Aston Villa are still fighting for a top 4 spot. They're home against Chelsea. They're on 66 points. They are 6 points above Tottenham, but they've also played 2 more matches than Tottenham. Tottenham have a double game week coming up here in game week 35. So technically, if Tottenham get back-to-back wins, then they would be level with Aston Villa, though that seems like a stretch given their schedule. But either way, Aston Villa play this match Saturday, and then they have the semifinal in Europa Conference League on Thursday. So we got Aston Villa plus 105 at home to win. Chelsea are plus 220. The draw is plus 310. And over, I guess I got to pull up these odds here before giving them out. But we're going to have over 2.5 goals is over 3.5 goals is plus 105. Under 3.5 goals is minus 125. So implied goal total is sitting about 3.5. So that's a lot of goals here. I don't think we get any relevant injury news, but Douglas Luiz is back from his suspension. So that's a boost for Aston Villa. Cole Palmer going to be available. He was ill midweek, did not play as Chelsea got smoked by Arsenal. I don't think we actually even got a Malo Gusto update. Though we did also get an update. Enzo Fernandez is going to be out for the season. He underwent groin surgery. I think it was this morning, actually. So what do we got? Aston Villa home against Chelsea.
Tough news about Enzo Fernandez here. I saw some classic Instagram stat. He's like something about is he's not won many games in a Chelsea shirt, but tough way to end this season. I do think the notable thing here is that we're going to get Cole Palmer back, right?
He's trained a couple days already. He's good.
Okay. So that's the big news that we talked about Chelsea at the midweek, but it's going to be huge to get him back. I do think, Villa they've trailed off from their scorching hot start at home to begin the season, but they've trailed off a little bit as of late. They're still one of the top teams in the league at home. They've won 12 games out of a possible 17. They drew 2 and then lost 3, which I think have all happened in the past 2 or 3 months. So maybe not as strong as they've been in the past. That doesn't make a difference to me personally. I think, at least for my bet and for how I think about them, I was initially, again, intrigued by the money line bet, which is plus 105 for Aston Villa, but I thought I found a little more value, and I actually really believe in this bet here. I found Ollie Watkins 2 or more shots on target. It's plus 150. You look at his past 12 matches, he's had at least 2 shots on target in 8 of those matches. It's been, I think, 2 out of the last 3 too, so he's still getting a lot of opportunities. I think the Chelsea back line, is pretty suspect, a little Swiss cheese back there. I think he shouldn't have a problem here, and you're getting plus 150, so it's certainly worth a little higher odds there to consider it. And then if you're like, well, Chris, Chelsea, this could be a little bit back and forth. I like the Watkins bet, but give me a little more value. I also am intrigued by the Cole Palmer 2 or more shots on target. That's plus 190 and also one that I believe in. So I'm on the shots on target, a little bit different than what I normally roll with. And I usually love a little same game parlay for the home team, but I'm shots on target here. What are you thinking, Adam?
What do you think the absence of Enzo means for Chelsea, or is it not going to have an effect? That he missed the game, he missed the 6-0 win against Everton, so maybe you look at that and be like, well, they're going to add another attacking piece. Conor Gallagher is going to move back, and they're going to have another attacking piece instead of Enzo in there. So does it mean anything, or what do you think?
I mean, of course, they usually play that they'll probably still play that two defensive mids with Casado and Gallagher, I guess,
Yeah.
dropping off. But I mean, Enzo's a better holding mid than Gallagher. I honestly, just from this is not worth anything, but I like Gallagher more as a player. I feel like he's always just working extremely hard, and Enzo's maybe a bit more talented. But yeah, I don't know. We have Mudryk coming in, which I guess offers a bit more an attack. But I think if anything, this helps my bet. I think they have maybe a little bit less defensive cover. And really the issue for Chelsea is not, I mean, it's been I guess their inability to score, but it's not like we look at their back line and be like, that's an airtight back line. So I think they're going to give up a fair bit of attacking opportunities here, and Watkins should be able to hit this 2 or more shots on target.
Yeah, one thing I've been looking at for these Chelsea games, similar to Manchester United, it's like against the top teams, it seems like they play a little safer, a little more glued down, and then against the bottom level teams, it's like okay, back and forth, goals. But I don't know about this one. I don't know how they, Enzo out for the season. This isn't a spot. Let me check the table. 9th in the table, 47 points. There's not a ton to play for this team. It's kind of why Enzo went down with surgery. They have so many injuries. Cole Palmer is back. It feels like, remove Enzo. Maybe this is one of those up and down games. So that kind of gives way to your shot bet. So maybe we're going to see a bunch of shots. Maybe we're going to see corners. Maybe we're going to see corners and wagers. I think I looked at the corners here, and Aston Villa games are usually tricky to bet in terms of corners, but over 4.5 corners for Chelsea at plus 105. I think that number is small enough to where I think they can get that. It's not very much. Chelsea under Pochettino have gotten a decent amount of corners, even if it's home or away. They've gotten corners, so I think that. And then you look at Aston Villa. It's not like a dominant. They're not a team like a Manchester City. They're just going to dominate possession, control the ball kind of thing. I think we're going to get a little back and forth here. And I think if, getting even odds on just 5 corners here for Chelsea, I think that's a good spot. And I don't think we're going to get like Chelsea, winning 1-0, 2-0 to where they're sitting back a little bit. I think Aston Villa are the team. Obviously, they're favored and they're at home. So if anything, it's more likely that Villa will take the lead than Chelsea are pushing a little more towards the end. So that also is another way to get to my bet. But I got Chelsea over 4.5 corners at plus 105. Chris, you have Ollie Watkins to have 2 or more shots on target at plus 150. How do you think this is going to go? You think Aston Villa are going to win this one?
I think it's Villa 3-1. I do. I think they're going to be able to take all 3 here, and it's getting. I guess we're 4 games left here. I mean, Tottenham. I don't know if they'll be able to take points this weekend, but it's getting to be kind of nitty gritty time for the Spurs here. Because if Chelsea or if Aston Villa continue to rack up points, they could be out of that Champions League spot. So yeah, I like Aston Villa here.
Yeah, this might be one of those games where, we look through all of these odds, we look through all these things. It was similar to even like the Manchester. I guess you went Brighton double chance there, but there's been times.
Good reference, Adam.
There's been times where we look through all these odds and it's like, why don't we just take Aston Villa plus 105? They're at home. They're against Chelsea, who have struggled on the road. Chelsea, who they're in a weird spot still, and it's just plus 105. They're at home. They beat them earlier this season. I know Chelsea won. I think it was at Aston Villa in the FA Cup a couple months ago. But I don't know. We're both kind of in that same area of okay. We both think Aston Villa are going to win, so why don't we just take Aston Villa to win? But maybe we're stupid, but maybe we just like betting on other things. I don't know.
We just watched Chelsea get smoked 5-0 by Arsenal. Didn't even. I guess it was maybe a bit closer than the scoreline. So I think that's fresh in my mind, and just Aston Villa has been playing pretty solid lately too. So form is kind of important here at the end of the season.
Yeah. Yeah, recency bias always a big thing when talking about these games and putting together bets.
Yeah.
Speaking of recency bias, Arsenal coming off some wins. Tottenham has had 2 weeks off, basically. Not basically, they have had 2 weeks off. So Arsenal are at Tottenham here. Uh, Tottenham are plus 350 to win. So this is probably the most significant line movement we've had of any of these games. Again, check out rotowire.com/betting/soccer to check out these odds. But this was 4 days ago.
That's wild.
I'm not sure why this has moved so much, but Tottenham they're plus 3 days ago, plus 245 3 days ago. Now they're plus 350 to win. Nothing's happened outside of this morning. Pasacaglu said Pedro Porro has been training and is ready, and Richarlison has been training and is ready. Arsenal are minus 135 to win. The draw is plus 320, and over 3.5 goals is plus 125. Under 3.5 goals is minus 160. So as I mentioned, the return of some of these injured guys for Tottenham, they haven't played in a couple weeks. It just seems like recency bias fresh in people's minds. Arsenal coming off some wins, coming off some key wins, just smashing Chelsea, getting the 2-0 win at Wolverhampton, just fresh in people's minds. So people are betting Arsenal. Do you see it that way, though?
The line movement in this makes me a little bit weary. Like
It's a lot.
That's a crazy amount for people to be super high on Arsenal. I mean, I cut to the chase here. I have a pretty sizable Arsenal bet here, but I mean the 100 here in the past 3 days. I mean, is 1-5-0 win over Chelsea enough to do it? Apparently, for the betting public, for the movement, for the line to move that much. Tottenham have left a lot to be desired lately. I kind of thought that they would, being in this race for that fourth and final Champions League spot would kind of like spur them on to like greater performances. But I mean, they have not been particularly good. And then looking at some of these previous results, they drew earlier. That was at Arsenal, but last season Arsenal won both games. They won 2-0 and 3-1. And then in the season before that, it was Tottenham 3-0 and Arsenal 1-3-1. So I have been going against the grain on these bets for much of the season. I usually take the underdog on this like a plus 1.5 goals on the spread, but I'm actually going the other way. What I've seen from Arsenal is just like they want this title. I mean, not that they necessarily want it more than City, but they have looked super, super good. So I'm taking Arsenal minus 1.5. We're getting really nice odds at plus 175. It's a bit of a reach. I'll be the first to admit that, but I love the plus 175 here, and I think Arsenal have just looked too strong for them to not win by 2 goals at Tottenham here on Sunday.
So that last match, you mentioned 2-2. This was back in September. So should we throw out that result? I don't know. It's early in Postecoglou's career here for Tottenham, but the numbers just seem like a little off than pretty much how these teams have looked for the past couple months. Like in the first half, Tottenham had 61% possession, which is a lot considering Arsenal are, I think, top 2 in the league in terms of possession. Tottenham not up there. It just seems like weird numbers to have at the Emirates here in this matchup. So I'm wondering if it's like a Postecoglou against Arteta thing where could that happen again, or is that just like early in the season and maybe there's nothing
Tottenham won like their first 6 or 7 games of the season, including this one. They have not. I mean, I guess they won 12 more since then. They've won a total of 18. So I think this is one you kind of. I mean, it was 7 months ago too. So I mean, I'm not throwing it out by any means, but this is 2 different teams here. One's challenging for a title and one's challenging for 5th. So I'm not throwing it out by any means, but I think Arsenal figured out their the potion, the magic sauce, the special sauce. And
do you think the Derby effect has anything?
Of course, I haven't mentioned that at all. Any Derby makes it a lot tighter, but if I just think Arsenal are too good right now.
Okay. Tell that to Bayern Munich fans.
Yeah. I'll let them know. I'll let the Bayern Munich public know just for you, Adam.
So
What do you got here? Is this a corners bet? Corners and wagers? Oh,
this was
okay.
this was Tuesday. On Tuesday we talked. I put together this single game parlay here. I think it was 4 different bets, a bunch of shots. I could have thrown some shots in because I'll throw like Odegaard 1 or 2 shots, Saka a couple shots, something like that. If you want to throw that in, but the graphic's not big enough, so I took a different route here. I reduced it. We got 3 options. We got Arsenal double chance, so we're safe in that. What if it's like 2-2 or something? Maybe they allow a couple goals. Maybe Son gets a couple goals, riding off the home fans or something like that. We saved we got the 2-2 possible, 3-3, whatever. Arsenal double chance plus Arsenal over 1.5 goals plus Arsenal over 4.5 corners plus 120. So obviously if they win 3-1 or 2-0 or something like that, both of our bets will hit. But this is just like the Arsenal double chance, like kind of a safety. I think they're as kind of everything what you said. They're playing the better team. Tottenham haven't looked very good, so I'm on their side. I almost went to the money line, but the money line was minus. Again, it's moved up so much that I'm not going to take it. It's like minus 140 now. So double chance over on goals and over on corners. I guess you agree with this bet because you're taking Arsenal minus 1.5. So
Yeah, I mean, the easiest one here is the over 4.5. I think Arsenal, they're second in terms of corners.
even though you took the Arsenal under corners midweek?
Yeah, did that one hit? I can't remember.
Yeah, they had 4 corners and 5 goals.
It did hit. Yeah, but this one's gonna be a little bit more back and forth, I feel like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the over 4.5 the most. But yeah, this is a real. You're back again here. 2 degenerate bets in 4 days here.
Hey, the last one hit, so keep it going.
Let it rip. Let it ride.
So, do you think Tottenham are going to score?
That's a good question. All I know is Andrew's going to set these boys up to attack. Like they're gonna go all out. I just think Arsenal have been super. They've got their back line. Is it maybe the best back line in the Prem? I guess let's check the goals against. I mean, yeah, they've only given up 26 goals in 34 matches, so it'll be tough. But
I mean, we've been saying probably best back line in the world. And then they, didn't really work for them in Champions League, but
yeah, I think that was just like lack of pedigree more than anything. Yeah. Like, I mean, it looked pretty loose in that first game, but yeah, I don't know. I think they're too good defensively. I don't think Tottenham score. If in a yes or no world, I'll say no.
All right, 2-0, 3-0, something like that. That's for Chris there. All right, Chris. Your last team parlay
was laughable.
You had under 10.5 corners, and it hit at least 20 corners, the Bournemouth.
It did. It hit 20. For a nice round 20 for Bournemouth and Wolves, 2 very attack-minded sides.
I had Crystal Palace over 1.5 goals. They got a late Mateta brace there, even without Michael Olise starting. Still managed to hit that one somehow. But we're on a single game parlay. We're eyeing a similar game, so I put together a single game parlay for us. In this, Manchester City are traveling to Nottingham Forest. Fresh in our minds. Again, look at the line movement here. This must be just like fresh in everyone's minds following the Brighton win, because Man City have gone from minus 270 to minus 340, minus 330 in the matter of 24 hours after they 4-0 at Brighton on Thursday. So is it going to be a similar result here at Nottingham Forest, Nottingham Forest just lost to Everton, and they are 1 point above Luton Town. So there's a world in which maybe Burnley get a point at Manchester United. Maybe Luton Town, steal a win at Wolverhampton. Nottingham Forest are sitting in the bottom 3 after this weekend.
After their shenanigans on Twitter, I'm kind of rooting for them to go down, honestly. Okay. I'm kind of like, we don't need that. This is a legitimate league. This isn't like, some stuff where you just put out a little statement because your feelings are hurt,
This isn't MLS Next Pro, okay?
Yeah. Right. This isn't the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup. This is a big deal. But I'm all over City here. I've been waiting to take this bet, but the odds are never good enough for me to take it. I set you 2 bets out of love for Man City here, over 2.5 goals, plus 115. It's just, it's all Man City all the time right now. This is where they excel. I also liked the Man City, same bet as this Arsenal bet that I gave, minus 1.5. That one feels safer, and the odds indicate that because it is minus 120.
Wait, what one
But
do you want?
I sent you 2. I don't know what you put up as a graphic. So
I picked over 2.5.
okay, that's where I'm at then. I'm at over 2.5 goal. I just mentioning them both because they both could hit. You could parlay them together and get even better odds. I think I bet on this exact same thing earlier in the season. It was either that or when they played Sheffield United. I can't remember, but the minus 1.5 seems the easiest too. So I like them both. I think City run riot here, maybe 3-4-0. Unless Forest, the league, the PGMOL has really been under pressure this past week from Forest, and they start to hand out a couple penalty calls here. But no, City in general, they're going to run away with this one. And I need my end after Wednesday's shambolic outing from the Bournemouth and Wolves. But let's go with the chalk here and get it right.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised. Minus 1.5 is only minus 120.
I know, right? That's what I thought too. I was like, this is going to be like minus 150 is what my assumption was, but pretty decent odds there.
Huh. Kind of like that. Either way, I did not have that. My initial thought was before Chris gave me his bet for this one, I did have Man City minus 4 corners in the entire game, and I had to find something else because you can't do that. You can't do those bets for some reason in single game parlays, at least at DraftKings. So I just have Man City over 3.5 corners in the first half. It seems like a lot, but Nottingham Forest, bottom 3 in terms of possession. They're going to have – this is going to be, I don't know, similar to the Brighton game. I had over 4.5 corners in the first half. There was an offside in stoppage time of the first half that called back a corner. So that didn't hit, but – it just feels like this is one of those games where Man City attacking third for 70% of the match. You're just going to be sitting the ball. They're going to be sitting in the attacking third. And are they going to score 2 goals in the first 20 minutes to where they're not, getting worried a little bit here? I think we're going to get some Morello blocks, some Matt Sells saves, and we're going to get over corners. So let's just try over corners for Man City. Man City over 3.5 corners. So this is a single game parlay. Man City over 3.5 corners in the first half, combined with Man City over 2.5 goals in the game, plus 270 odds for that. And then, if you want to throw something else in there, maybe throw like De Bruyne shots. That's one of my favorite ones. I actually should have done that instead, but mine's going to hit anyway. Let me really quickly find. The odds I found on De Bruyne have been kind of loose here, but I guess it changed a little bit. 3 or more shots for De Bruyne is just minus 150. So you could throw this in here as well. Even if you want to be a little safer, 2 or more shots for De Bruyne. If Julian Alvarez starts again and Haaland's not in, Alvarez is a guy who likes to just launch shots whenever he gets the ball. That's another guy, 2 or 3 shots. Just plug that in here, and then you're moving to like plus 400 odds or something like that. So there we go, plus 270 odds.
I like it. Stick with the chalk here on our parlay bet.
Yeah, I mean, again, fresh in our minds. You just watch that game against Brighton. Brighton team that like to possess the ball, not a terrible team, and make a couple mistakes, and it's just like, bang, Foden 2 goals off of mistakes. You got Kevin De Bruyne, diving headers from
that header was so sick,
12 yards out, and it's like, okay, what can we do here in this spot? Obviously, the first thing is don't pass the ball in your box when Man City are pressing you, but that's for another show. But
that was like that'll be on like a tactical analysis for many teams later.
Yeah, it was. So Valentin Barco, the Argentinian 19-year-old for Brighton, he was getting his first start for him, some of his first major minutes, and he passed the ball to Bernardo. Bernardo like nicked it and went right to Foden, who got the goal. But if you're watching on YouTube or Twitter, make sure to give a thumbs up on the show. I pulled the cheat sheet up. We have 11 matches in the game week because we got that double with the second match is Tottenham traveling to Chelsea. I think that's next Thursday. But what else do you think is going to happen this weekend? Another consideration I had was Newcastle over like 2.5, over 3.5 goals. They're home against Sheffield United. It just seems like a spot. They scored 8 in the first meeting. Sheffield United are a mess. Just seems like a spot where Newcastle are just going to pounce like 5 goals kind of thing. But anything else stand out to you this week?
I mean, the Everton hosting Brentford feels like a low. It's got to have one of the lower goal totals in this. This feels like another one where they just sit back and play on the counter. I'd be interested. Like, I don't know what the under is, but that's one to consider. But yeah, otherwise, Manchester United Burnley could be interesting. I feel like United will be fine, but Burnley, of course, still battling out. But yeah, a lot of good games. I think I'm most excited for this Villa Chelsea game of them all.
Yeah, you got 2 somewhat top sides. I may consider like betting Burnley first team to score against Manchester United. I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a Burnley money line win against Manchester United.
Away from home, you think so?
Yeah, it just seems like I know they had the win against Sheffield United, but they were down. I think they're down 1-0, then they're down 2-1.
Mm-hmm.
They had the Coventry result. It just seems like at some point this is going to start boiling over for Ten Hag. It seems like he's already done at the club kind of a thing, unless something drastically changes at the end, and you have Casemiro playing center back. Eriksen got a recent start, whatever, but Burnley have been playing well. I think that they can get them here. I think this could be a spot where Burnley. I know that while they've been playing well, they've had all these games where they're drawn and stuff, but yeah. Burnley plus 425, first goal plus 170, so not as good as I thought it was going to be, but just something I kind of have my eye on a little bit here because I zero trust in Manchester United right now. They got the win against Sheffield United, but Sheffield United, come on, like what?
One of the worst teams we've seen in the league since Derby County, probably.
So you got the Atlanta United kid on. Do you have Atlanta United bet for us?
No, I went to the Atlanta. I was in Atlanta last week for work and stuck around to see actually one of our colleagues at RotoWire, John McKechnie. He's an Atlanta guy now.
Former Kits and Wagers guest.
Yeah, he actually hosted a show one time when you were out. I think you were maybe having a baby or something like that. I don't know what you were doing.
No,
you were in Spain. Yeah. But went down to visit him. Saw the Braves game Friday night, and then the big thing that I was looking forward to was checking out Atlanta United. They played Cincinnati, so a pretty big matchup there. I took a little. I think it was -1 or -110, something right around there. Money line bet. They went up 1-0. FC Cincinnati scored 2 goals in about 3 minutes, in like the 60th, 70th minute. But what I take away from that is that we went to the supporters tailgate before. One of their supporters groups is like Footy Mob, which is a cool name. And just a really good time. Did a little march to the match, which was also fun. And then the Mercedes-Benz Stadium is like one of the coolest stadiums I've been to. Pretty strong amount of people at the game too, and just a good atmosphere. I would put it up there with one of the better MLS atmospheres that I've seen. So good. Shout out to Atlanta United. I'm not necessarily a fan, but I bought their kit just because this is Kits and Wagers, and you got to bring the kits.
While you're talking, I put together a single game parlay for Atlanta United at Chicago Fire. So Atlanta not as good away from home. They're at Chicago. Both teams to score, yes, over 2.5 goals, and Chicago Fire double chance. We're at plus 155 odds. Let's go.
Bang. Let's
bet number 9. Lock it in. You can find Chris at CHROwen8 on Twitter. I am at RotoWire. This has been Beers, High Noons, and Wages. Wagers, not wages. Could be wages as well. We're still, it's 3:30 p.m. Eastern. It's still the working hours here for us. So high noons and wages for us. But with game week 35, we have 3 more game weeks left, which is kind of crazy to say, somewhat nice, but we start preparing for the 20 bet show right now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's what we have to do.
Let's start the hype right now. We traditionally last 2 seasons we've done 10 bets each on game week 38. So lock in. I'll be locked in. Adam will be locked in. I think I lost the last 2 years. Let's see if I can get out of this rut I've been in. I think we usually win about 3 to 4 of them. But each, I think he won with like maybe 4 bets. I had 3 right last year.
Win is a win.
Yeah, win is a win. So we'll, if you're a fan of the show, make sure you lock in for that. We'll try to do a little extra planning around it, and we'll have some fun stuff, and we'll be rifling through 10 bets for 10 different matches.
Let's go. Kits and wagers, game week 35. Thank you for listening to this. Make sure to give a thumbs up, like, and subscribe. High noons, double hazies. Have a good weekend. Let's win some bets, Chris.
Thanks, Adam.